Howdy. Your audio is not working.
Hey, everybody.
There it is.
All right. Here we are. Thanks for joining, everyone. We are doing a deck test drive today and a new format for that. So I used to do some of these back when I was doing more pre-recorded content. I did some deck test drives, and I thought at one point I decided that this might be a really fun thing to do live, and who better to do it with than Gerald Tarot Stash.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah,
Woo.
so really appreciate you joining me. For everyone out there, we looks like we have pretty active chat already, so we will certainly hop in there in a moment. But if of course, if you're not already, please subscribe and turn on notifications for Tarot Stash. And I have a link to the channel in the description.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's hop to the chat here. Morning, Hershey. And for some, we may have some afternooners if you're over across the pond, but I think it's morning for most in here so far. So good to see you, Hershey. Appreciate you joining in. We have Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, Beth. We have Tarot Stash. Howdy.
Trouble.
Absolutely. And we have a new subscriber. Hi, Lisa.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
I believe I've seen you on other channels, so I appreciate you coming over here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I when I found that music, I was so excited because I love that sort of tropical feel, and it really gets things moving in the right direction. Nice positive vibe. I really enjoyed that. Peter J. Watts is here.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter. Good to see you. And so we are going over the Meraki Tarot today. And so I looked in the little bit note on pronunciation. I looked in the book, of course, it says Meraki. Mm-hmm. And then I watched an interview with the creator, and it does come across a little lighter like Meraki. So so you can take it either way, I think. And I do also have that interview linked in my description. I think it's real nice. And I believe it was done close to a year ago and only has maybe 20 some views. So if you want to see the creator and hear about her process and things like that, it's a great place to go. I definitely recommend checking that interview out for sure. So, yeah. And so a little bit about the format here and what we're going to do. We'd like to talk about the deck as if we were going to check out a car, and the things that you do when you do that. What are the aesthetics? You know, do you like the color scheme? Do you like all that sort of thing? And then you kick the tires a little bit. If it's a used car, you got to look for those squeaky wheels, the things that might get you in trouble down the road. And then you take it for a drive. And in that case, for that, we're going to do some readings. So, feel free to put something in the comments if you're interested in. It'll basically be general readings with a couple of cards, but if you have a specific question, I think that's fine too. So we're pretty casual here, so I think it'd be a fun way to do it. And then afterwards, we'll talk about the experience.
Yes, and by the way, I actually have I don't have anything on the bottom of my cup. I did this because I was like going. Because I love the mugs, but I don't drink the coffee from where the mugs are from.
Gotcha. Yep. No, I like it. That works great. So we have a question from Beth. Do you know the history of the steel drum in the Caribbean? If not, super interesting. I do not know the history other than I thought it had something to do with is there something about a shipwreck with barrels or something, and they found a way to turn it into an instrument? I don't know. That could be my imagination coming up with something, but that's ringing a bell for me for some reason. But that's a good point and something fun to look into.
Yeah, excellent.
And so that, yep, we have our answer there. So it's on the message is on the side today.
It's on the side.
Early Ritual is here. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Hello, hello.
We also have
and that's Tom. Early Rituals, Tom.
Tom. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Trying to remember your name. So
everybody, Tom has a channel, new channel, and puts out, he has a couple of videos there. The quality is impeccable. The style is unique, and really quite nice. Definitely recommend checking his videos out. Early Ritual is the channel name, and recently did a video on Tarot d'Ambiguïté, the new release from Artisan Tarot. It's very well done.
Excellent. I am already subscribed to Early Ritual. So
likewise.
Yep.
Absolutely. And Gerald, if you bear with me for a moment, I am going to do a little bit of wrenching to get some more mods.
I say wrench.
I'm going to wrench away. I'm going to do a little bit of that. And I apologize, folks, for interrupting to go into that. But I think it's an important thing. And and also that'll help because somebody can then put a link to Tom's channel, if you wouldn't mind. So I will do that.
Yep.
So what are you drinking today, Gerald?
I am drinking, well, I call it Cuban coffee because it's espresso with cinnamon and dark brown sugar. And then I had it with milk. And because yes, it is still early in the morning, but I would like to be able to sleep. So I have it with some milk because I'm worth it. And that's what I like.
Excellent. I love it. Sounds great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so you've wrenched away. This is a good thing. Wrenching is very important.
It is. And I have not had too many bots and trolls and things in my lives yet, but it's inevitable at some point. So, but we'll and Tom, it's not a lie. I'm allowed to say that it's impeccable. I'm allowed to offer that opinion because I'm not you. So we're all critical of our own creations all the time.
Deal with it, Tom.
Yep. Sorry.
We are our own worst critic. I love it. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yep. Oh, and I didn't get my fan out. How can I thwarp properly?
I can thwarp for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
And yep, I think we may at some point need for me to just go off camera and grab that, but we'll see. We'll see how crazy it gets. If we need, sometimes you need 2 fans. So
there you go. Oh, and I see Lisa's here from Zena's Place Intuitive Card Readings. She and Jane the Secret Tarot are on my channel on Monday for readings.
Excellent. Yeah, highly recommend that. And we also drums had been outlawed by the government because it created too much leisure time for slaves. In 1948, people started using steel drums from oil refineries. Wow. That is quite a tale. I love it when people find ways to overcome oppression like that. It's just that's the stuff. I love it. And a lot of times it seems to involve music. It's funny how that works.
I think that's a really important point. You're right. It involves music. So it just lets us know that it is a natural part of how we exist.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
can't hold us back, people.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll tell you what. We can just kind of start with a little bit of talking about, what this deck is all about, and our first impressions. I mean, if I were to think about this as a car, for me, the first thing that came to mind was one of those sort of funky crossovers that it's sort of plays the part of car and plays the part of little off-road thing all at the same time, but somehow you can pack a bunch of people into it because this has it's not restrictive in terms of a diversity issue because it has a lot of people. It doesn't have a lot of people in it. I don't know what
Doesn't have it doesn't have people in it.
Right.
So there you go. I think this is a I would call it a shiny hybrid.
Mm.
And it's more of it's a luxury car. It's a luxury hybrid.
I like that.
I mean,
yeah. It does have that luxury feel, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit too, with just the physical aspects of it. But I could definitely see that angle. It does have it's almost like the leather seats when you're shuffling this.
well, yeah, and it comes with all of these extras as standard, and I'm like going, I mean, who does that?
Right?
Who does that? I mean,
Speaking of extras as standard, I mean, the creator actually had, and this is tissue paper that was just around the box, and it's the designs from the deck itself. So that's quite an extra level to go to.
yes.
Handwritten thank you note that goes out with every deck. There are stickers. You get stickers all over the place. There are all kinds of stickers that follow the same theme. Carrie is the creator, and Bouchette Design is the company. And I thought maybe that was her last name. It's not. And and I didn't find it listed in the book. It's mentioned in that interview, but I don't have it written down. But regardless, she signs everything, Carrie, when she's sending her little thank yous and things.
Yes, it's very nice.
So very nice. The other aesthetic thing to talk about, if we're approaching this vehicle, is the paint job, the overall color scheme and things like that. So the backs on this are beautiful. They are just super nice. They are reversible for anybody that likes to read reversals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the side of it is it's a matte green.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
It is. I love colorful edge treatments like that because I like the idea of edging my own decks, but let's face it doesn't always go well because sometimes there's bleeding issues and it's not always clear which decks are going to suffer from that. So then you could end up with a mess. And in some cases that's okay too. It fits the theme of the deck. It fits the feel. So there's nothing wrong with it, certainly, but it's also kind of refreshing to receive a new deck that already has this beautiful, colorful edge.
It is a rose petal finish. It's not the horrible sticky rose petal,
right?
But since I've only had my deck for a short amount of time, I haven't shuffled it a lot. It has gotten easier to shuffle as I've used it. But it's the it's still rose petal.
It is.
So, and some people may not like that.
Yeah, I think of this as, I would class this as a moderate rose petal. And if you have the Pacific Northwest Tarot, that's a very similar feel for anybody who has that. It's it actually went, if you riffle shuffle, it has, I haven't figured out a better way to describe this other than a rubbery feel, which is really resilient. I think it feels like those cards are happy to be, bent and put through a riffle and come right back to where they belong. And also they do slide against each other better than some of the other rose petal decks I've had.
Yeah, and Beth, I'll try to do a riffle shuffle when we've talked about it. So yeah, good shuffle.
Yep. And everybody has their own approach to a shuffle. That's one of the reasons why this kind of test drive thing I think can be helpful, because Gerald and I are taking it out for a spin, and we can tell you what our experience is, and then hopefully, if we're clear enough with our interpretations, you can get an idea of whether or not this would work for you.
Yes.
So, yes, and I think Hershey, you're referring to that edge treatment, I believe, and yeah, it is just it's amazing. It just it's
very pretty.
So nice.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's so I think, and I'm running a little behind in chat here. It looks like great participation, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, the art is really nice, and so I think oh yeah, and here we go. Carrie Snook, thank you. I knew it was an S, but I couldn't remember for sure. And so yeah, Carrie Snook, author.
And for those of you who don't know, the guidebook is a separate purchase.
It is.
And know your limits, purchase responsibly. I'll talk about the guidebook a little bit later, but and even the guidebook has got the nice edging.
Yes, it does. So, I forgot to point that out. That is that's a fun extra as well. Those little extra details. Carrie is an interior designer by trade, and that fact comes through everywhere in this creation. I think it's just really well thought out. By the way, hi Maruta. Haven't seen you before.
Hi, Maruta.
Welcome. Jamie is here. Hi, Jamie. Wandering Mountain.
And just to be clear, Jamie made me do this. I mean, she had it. I wasn't in it, but it was the conversation about the workbook. So I can put this away now.
Jamie's here. Good thing she's here. She made you do it.
Yes, and I'm grateful. And I think it's quite good.
Well, and while we're putting that out there, Gerald made me do it. I don't have a card to say that, but Gerald made me do it.
So basically, Jamie made you do it too.
That's right. Good point. Jamie made me do it.
Sorry.
Wow.
We all love Jamie.
Yep, we appreciate it.
She's So, but yeah. So this is aesthetically it's a very nice deck. So like I said, it's a hybrid luxury car, and I actually think it's probably got a lot of sparkle to it. It's the paint job that when you look at it, when the sun hits it, it's a little bit luminescent. It's like ooh. So
yep. Indigo Jaguar Intuitive Arts is here. Welcome.
Hi, Heather.
So it is, speaking of extras, because we did mention the extras here. So if we're thinking about what this would look like in terms, this fits the luxury car thing too. It has all of the options. If there was an options package available, it ticked all the boxes, because not only do you get the full tarot deck, but you also get a selection of oracle cards that are intended to either be integrated into the deck and read along with it, or, and I'll embiggen you. At least I thought I was going to, but sometimes StreamYard decides that you're not going to get a response when you click a thing. So that's what's happening now.
It's okay.
So we'll leave it as is. But
so these are the extra cards. Yeah, those
are the extra cards. And there's also then, in addition to these, do you have the yes and no in there as well?
I do.
Yep. So there's a yes and a no card. Actually, I have those on my side too. Yep. Yes and no. So you just get the basic. Yeah. So if you're looking for clarifiers, so that's the other use. You can incorporate those oracle cards into the deck, which is what I've done in my early days with it. Or you can separate them out, use them as clarifiers and that sort of thing. So,
And there's the Meraki card,
Yes.
Which is card 22.
22. Yes. And I'll just take a moment too, while you have that card out, there's a definition given by the creator for what Meraki means. And just flipping through the book because I didn't have it marked. So
it's on page 6.
I knew I went too far. So it's to do something with soul, creativity, and love, to put the essence of yourself into your work.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can, of course, leave in as an extra major. And also we have a different card for the world. It's the universe card. So that's one other change that comes through here. I believe everything else is standard. And it follows.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Sip.
Here's the universe.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the bonus 8 cards?
Yes. So that was where I was heading. You get crystal associations, astrological signs. So astrological signs, I guess there was the first one you had up. And it gives you the dates and some symbols and some keywords. And then we have solar system associations.
Mm-hmm.
So it runs through everything in the solar system and all the keywords to go along with it.
Yeah.
Then we have the crystal associations. So with this, it gives you the card, the crystal that's associated with that card, and then some nice keywords to go along with it.
Absolutely. And Carrie Snook has created a second deck, or a first deck, which was a crystal oracle, or the radiant crystal is what Jamie said. And I cannot wait for another edition to be released of that, because they belong together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so really good. So, and then we have
major arcana associations, astrology,
astrology
and
and
elemental. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the major word associations. So there's some nice, basically some keyword references here for all of the majors.
Yeah, they're so good.
They really are.
And it's so handy. And
then we have each of the suits with word associations.
Yes. And then she even has the keywords for the oracle.
Yep.
It's like, come on.
It's all there.
It's like perfect. And so it's like, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I'm talking about, that those bells and whistles are standard.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Holy mackerel.
Yep. Yeah.
So
it's amazing. And I don't know if any of this differs. This is the second edition. I believe you also have the second edition, correct, Gerald?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how this differs from the first edition. If anybody has that, maybe you might be able to call out what is different there.
Jamie and I, we were chatting on Zoom and we looked through it, and there are some differences, and for lack of a better word, it's okay. I mean, so Jamie and I will probably do a deck casual about this, and we'll get you on with it, and we can talk about those more in depth.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, yeah.
Tom says the only rose petal decks he has are the Oak Ash and Thorn and Smoke Ash and Embers. I would say it's fairly similar. But This to me shuffles a little bit easier than those. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, not a huge difference, but that's been my experience so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just catching up on chat a little bit here.
Sure. Sure.
So, yeah, the guidebook is pretty incredible. There's so much going on in this book, and it's called a workbook because there
Yeah.
are there are exercises that you can do, but it's so much more than a workbook because there's so much information packed in there too.
Yes. And yeah, because it's you have for each of the cards the planetary ruler, astrology, modality, element, affirmation, activating crystal, and then it gives you a light keywords and dark keywords,
Mm-hmm.
and then an explanation. And she goes into the explanations about the crystal association, and then it has then in interpretation, reflection, and tarot and crystal notes that you can use. So you're the bonus, and so you get to use this to help you create a truly incredible book. And here, I'll talk about this. I love that those
Yes.
little details. It's like, holy mackerel.
Yeah. Yeah. So well thought out. And we would think of that as really good engineering in a car for sure. It's just every little thing is where you'd expect it to be, and very easy to use. It's yeah, really a good thing.
I will say the one thing that I have issue with. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and Carrie Snook is a stellar and sweet human being. Font matters.
Yes.
And my the thing that I don't care as much about is the font. The font
Mm-hmm.
on the card, sometimes it's hard to read.
Yeah.
I get it's pretty, but it's like, because the cards they're a good spin on an RWS.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me some getting used to.
Likewise. Yep.
So,
yeah, not all of them, and we'll probably get to that as we flip through a little bit more, but not all of them are super quick hits that that follow a familiar theme. So
yeah. So it's lovely.
Yes. Yeah.
It is a matte finish. Yeah.
Yep.
The matte finish is nice. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like a matte finish for sure. Yeah. So just catching up on chat again here.
Of course. There's so much. I mean, this is great, and I mean, this is one of those things for if I'll say when I create some sort of a deck, these are wonderful things that I keep in mind.
Yeah.
So, and I'm never going to make no designer's ever going to make everyone happy, but the more you can, the better.
Yep.
So,
have you tried lining them up next in piles next to each other and pulling 3 tarot oracle, yes or no? I'm doing that with the Valentine angel cards. I have not, but that's a good idea. I've had my oracle cards integrated with this deck, not the yes or no, but I've had the other ones just shuffled in and have been using it that way. But I like this idea.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a very good idea.
I agree, Tom. I do wish more decks would include this kind of cheat sheet card, especially when artists, they could even do this in lieu of a more informative book, because one thing we lack in some of these artist renderings of RWS and familiar systems is sometimes they go kind of far afield, and then if there's no good book to tell us why, the creator can introduce those reasons within the little explanations on a card, just the little keywords that they choose to use based on their art or what they were thinking when they created it. It can could deliver a lot of information.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The cheat sheets are nice. I don't know what the cost is. So, I absolutely love this deck. I have the first edition and the Radiant Crystal by Carrie too. Production is stellar. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, if we look at this from the kick the tires perspective, that just we've talked about how the quality is super high, and there are just so many elements of this that make it feel luxurious and everything else. Are there any, other than the font choice, are there any other things that make you pause or are stumbling blocks for you at all?
No, it's really the font for me.
Yep.
And sometimes the color of the font on particular cards. And I know when you're in a mid-range gray, what do you do? Do you do white or black? I get it. But I mean, one of the bonuses for kicking the tires is it's borderless.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I appreciate that.
Likewise. So. And there are some decks that I think benefit from a border if it fits the overall aesthetic, but generally speaking, I prefer borderless, and it fits this art style.
It's beautiful. Yes.
The only thing for me is occasionally the artwork goes a little airbrushy for my taste.
Okay.
Where it's I think the softness is intentional because of a certain feel aesthetic that they want to convey. But occasionally I found it to be just a little jarring, where it's sharp and clear on some cards, and then I feel that it takes me back to being a kid and going through the fair when it would come to town, and they'd have those airbrush artists doing the t-shirts, and they'd put logos and different things on there, and it just it knocked the luxury down a notch for me, I have to say.
Okay.
In some areas. Overall, still, incredible.
Definitely.
It's time for a sip.
There you go. Everybody sip.
So,
yeah.
I think it's probably a good time to just start talking about some of the cards. Put some things up on the screen.
Let's do it. Yes.
So,
which ones do you want to talk about?
Well, I have some favorites. Do you have any favorites that really jump out for you?
I do have some favorites. Yeah, go ahead and start. I'll let you.
I think the one that really got me first out of all the cards in the deck was the Tower.
That is in my favorites as well. Do you want to remove Jamie's comment?
Oh, I do. Thank you. So the Tower card, the color scheme, that sort of roiling ocean down below, and the violent sky up above, and the fact that the tower itself is just an outline, is a really interesting way to think about this. And where it puts the energy in the card is in the violence of the weather going on around it, which I thought was interesting. The tower itself is not falling down.
Yeah. And then the chaos of the birds flying around.
Yeah.
And by the way, we have the layout on the majors. We have the astrological sign down at the bottom right on all of the majors. So that's really nice.
Favorite card in this deck is the Ten of Pentacles.
Let me show the Ten of Pentacles. Yep. It's a sweet version of it.
Yeah. And the lighting is just incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
She created this deck in Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was all digital art, which you can tell as you're looking at it that was the style. But she just happened to mention in the interview that I watched that it was Photoshop that she used.
Nice. One of my favorite cards is the Devil, and I believe this is a different version than what was in the first edition. And I think it's like, ooh, it's that darkness, it's the howling at the moon, it's that creating the chaos, and so I think that's quite good. And then we also have the trident, and so it's really quite nice.
And apparently now StreamYard is letting me click things and change our view, so now we can see those cards a little bit better.
There you go.
Yeah. Jamie says that the updates are really good, especially the strength card. So apparently that's a new one for this as well.
Let me find the strength for you.
Yeah, I don't have that one pulled out as
I am #overachiever. I put all of them in order. So
I am not at all surprised by that. That is a really nice strength card.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the other strength card, it wasn't. There was a different interaction between the hare and the lion. So, but I like the feel of this.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm always up for a foresty scene anyway, and then you put that that sort of light play in the animals. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So. Okay. So I was going to. So I showed you the Devil. Okay, your turn.
My turn. Next for me is the Star. So this Star card, it was funny. I was going through this a little bit this morning, and I was pulling out my favorites so for this. And as I'm doing this, okay, it has this gigantic stag down there. I look out my back windows, and there's this huge buck walking through my backyard.
Wow.
And it's just like, I really wish a couple of birds landed on his antlers while he was walking through. That would have been amazing. But yeah, beautiful card. I think it just, it's nice how it draws focus, the way that there's a darker set of, and it's that ethereal kind of look in the sky, but there's a darker section around that one star. So it draws your eye up from the scene below. Just beautiful.
Yeah. And Hershey, there are no people in the deck. There are on the aces, you have the hand. But that's the only people in the deck.
Yep.
So okay. Let's see. One of the other cards that I really appreciated was I appreciated the Two of Swords.
Yes.
And I'm like going, oh yeah, that really summarizes the Two of Swords quite a bit, and such a nice, different way. Or it adds a spin, so it's like okay.
Yeah, I love it's the old iceberg metaphor for id, ego, and superego as well for the psychology students among us that that's depicted there too, and how there's more going on underneath the surface, which is really neat. Capturing that duality.
Yeah.
Beth said the first edition had borders. Definitely prefer the borderless.
Okay. And we'll show Lisa. I'll show some court cards in a little bit.
Yep. All right, my turn, right?
So,
it's my turn.
Yes.
All right. I love me a good hermit card.
Oh, me too. It's one of my favorite. It's like I watch it.
I really like the forest scene with the stars in the background, the owl, and the little lantern, and That lantern doesn't have to be held by the owl or anything anthropomorphic.
Correct.
And it's hanging from the moon. We see the moon in the foreground. It's not up in the sky behind the trees. It's actually in front of that branch.
Good point. Very good point. Jamie said the owl is different in the first edition.
Oh, interesting.
For the hermit. Yeah.
I wonder what the motivation was there.
I don't know. So, I appreciated the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is oftentimes a challenging card. And what I appreciated about this is we have the swords piercing in, or only piercing one but moving toward. So as a reader, it would give me the ability to, which is the one that attracts my attention the most.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this may be the fear of it. It could be it could be the actual piercing of it, but I also like how it's designed. It's not that heart right smack dab at you.
Right.
It still communicates the information. So
yeah, I like that. I also like the directionality of that card. If you're doing a spread where that might matter, what's going on to the one side or the other side of this.
Yeah, that's true. It could literally point to what may be causing the heartache.
Right.
And not being in sync. Yep.
Hershey would like to see the Queen of Swords. If you wouldn't mind pulling that out.
Don't mind. Well, I'm going to take an opportunity and I'm going to go through all of the court cards for
That's a good idea.
For the swords.
Yeah, good idea.
So there's that. See, this is where I have, it's like, what is that? It's like, okay. So there's the Queen of Swords, and here is the King of Swords.
I just, I don't think I noticed one as I've been going through this, the different animals they used and how that the ram makes sense there.
Yeah. And Lisa, yes, there were leaves in the Three of Swords as well.
Yeah.
So
Tom says, damn it, this may turn into a Brian and Gerald made me do it via Jamie moment.
and Jamie said earlier that she will take this. Jamie made me do it. So. Well,
I'm going to have to build that into my banners that pop up on here as well. So it's going to happen.
Definitely. So I think, were you next?
Yeah. So actually, that was the last of the ones that really hit me that I wanted to show. On the positive side, there's a miss for me that I feel just didn't quite get there, and that is the Wheel of Fortune card.
Okay.
I see what's going on here, and I understand symbolism, things like that we're capturing with this, but for some reason this just fell flat. It doesn't quite give me the intuitive hit. Maybe Wheel of Fortune isn't one of my cards that really tends to communicate with me deeply anyway, so that might be part of it here as well. But there's a bit of a pupil and iris kind of thing going on that could be interesting. Just in general, though, doesn't really do it for me.
Okay. I was doing a little bit of reading in the book about it, and she does give some explanation, or she talks about that. And I like how we have yellow, blue, we have green, and then we have, we have the different colors. So it is really subtle. It's very, very subtle.
It is.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
So, Okay, I have two cards. One, I love an Eight of Wands, and this is a fun interpretation of it.
Agreed. I really like that.
It's just a lot of fun. And the other card that it just makes me happy to see it. It's the Nine of Pentacles. I mean,
Mhm.
how happy? I mean, she's good with foxes,
Yes, very. Yeah.
and that fox, she looks, or they look so content. It
Yep.
is completely the Nine of Pentacles for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very well done.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa. And there are foxes throughout the deck.
Yep.
So
Hershey would like to see the Fool, so I pulled that out as well. The Fool is an interesting one.
mhm.
And the Fool is often a challenge if you don't have people in your deck, I think. As
Yes.
an artist, I think it would be very difficult. But we have the
Mhm.
dog down below. And then there are crystals obviously throughout this deck, and
Yes.
heavy play on that here. It's all of the crystals. It's all of the energies that she references in the book and throughout. So I think that's interesting that they're all here. And are they falling into the box, and the Fool is going to carry that with them, or are they coming out of the box?
Yeah.
I did not read the book statement on that card.
So, and Beth had said the Eight of Wands. I like the Eight of Wands because it's reminding you to be prepared too.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom, Early Ritual, said that's Fool's a miss for me, I think. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, it looks like they've tripped over something and spilled all of the crystals, which is an interesting way to approach the Fool. It's a leap of faith. It's
Mm-hmm.
the okay, what's going to be fun?
Yeah.
So,
Let's toss up all those energies and see where we land.
mhm. Now, one that I had a little issue, I had a struggle with is because it didn't capture it as well as the other ones was the Three of Wands. I it's different. I get it, and I like it because it's the focus of it, and I like the perspective difference. So, and it's like, oh yeah. So this is one that just made me go, It's not that I don't like it. It's just I went, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So
A fox. Yes, it is, Lisa.
yes.
All right. So yeah, lots of love for foxes, and this is a good deck for
Hmm.
people who enjoy that for sure.
Hmm. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay. Well, I mean, any other cards that people would like to see? Because we can certainly, this would be a good time to kind of feature some of those. And um,
Yeah. I want to show some of the other court cards because
yeah,
here's the pages.
I do like the energy of that page of cups with the tiny fish coming up out of the cup. Um,
Hmm.
at the same time, this is one of the ones that hit me with that airbrush feel that I wasn't real fond of, but I
I
still
can see that.
I do like the
Yeah.
card though.
And the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the King. And try to be as quick as I can. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, matches my fingers, Queen of Pentacles, And then the King of Pentacles. And we'll do the Wands quickly. Page of Wands. I mean, she can definitely capture these images.
Yeah. The light is really just so well done in a lot of these.
Yeah. It's the Queen and the King. And Lisa asked if the pages are all airbrushed. Not all of them. This one doesn't have that airbrushy feeling.
Right.
So, yeah.
So we did have one question for the Eight of Cups. It's one request.
There you go.
There you go. And then we have a request for the High Priestess.
And here we go. This is one of those cards that, yeah, they're very pretty to look at. And like with all of them, I'm looking forward to getting into the book.
Yeah.
So, right. and really understanding some of the imagery and the hidden things.
Yeah.
So
Beth says the Pentacles, my favorite suit in the deck. Yeah. This is a good deck for that. But of course, yeah, we all have our, I think we all tend to be drawn to one suit frequently.
Jamie was talking about Six of Cups as one of her favorite cards.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the suit association for the foxes in particular.
Well, they were in a lot of the wands.
They're the wands. It does seem to be mostly, but there are some in the, so the swords have some foxes. So I don't know that it sticks to a suit.
It doesn't, because there's some, the Nine of Pentacles.
Yeah, Nine of Pentacles
is a fox. So
yeah.
And Robin's Reflections asked a question about not understanding the animal energy because those quartz just fall on the table. It's pretty pictures.
Yeah, it's a good point. And certainly there could be more information that would bring more out for you in the book. But in some cases, it just won't get there if the cards and the art on the cards aren't gonna really do that for you on their own.
Yeah.
Then that's something that's difficult to overcome. So
yeah. And one of the things that I appreciate about it is in the book there is a conversation about the light side and the dark side, those aspects, and they're not separated. They're incorporated, because in some instances in the light she's talking about how the dark side comes up and all that stuff. So
yeah.
But
Jamie said the only card in this deck that I really don't care for is Judgment, but it's not a deal breaker, just not a fave. Yeah, and it is different. I've heard some commentary that people think that it has more of a lover's feel to it, I believe.
Judgment?
Yeah, Judgment.
Here's the Judgment card.
Oh, it's not Judgment that I'm thinking of then. It must be, there's another one that had, it's the Justice.
Is it Justice you're thinking?
My alliteration is getting the best of me.
The
J's. Yeah. So
I wasn't bothered by this one because I like all of the eyes. What is different is it's a shockingly different art style.
It is.
And it's like, what? So
yeah, it is. There was some of that again with the difference between a sharper art style and the airbrushy art style. That was jarring for me, and is for some of these as I transition back and forth. And that one falls into that category. But as a card itself, I don't mind it.
Yeah, that this is the justice.
Yeah,
it does feel like it could be the lovers, but when you think about it, when there's justice, people get along. So
yep, and it's that same sense of duality that you get from the lovers too.
Yeah. Yes, Jamie, it is. It's the contrast that startles Jamie with with that, and it does, because if we were to, here, let's just pull, some cards, and here you go. It's like, okay, that, boom.
Yeah.
Whoop. So,
yeah, that really put the contrast forward there. Those two cards.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
It does.
It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Ooh. So did we get the cards that people want to see?
Yeah, if there are any others, speak now, and we can certainly get to it. And then also, if you would like a reading, pop it in the chat.
I'm going to start shuffling cards then.
Likewise. And I can I'll be a little slower with my shuffling so that I can pull anything out if anybody has any specific things that they'd like to see.
Here's the moon, Beth.
I do like the moon. This is a moon year for me. So I've found myself being drawn to moon cards because it's on my mind more. But yeah, this is I think it's a beautiful moon card. It's less complicated than a lot of moons. But I think it still gets there.
It totally still gets there. Totally still gets there. And yeah, the Eight of Swords is Eight of Swords. I love the big spider, and I love the story that can be told about that. And the swords are still around, so okay, gotta love a spider. Yeah, moon card is what I judge a lot of decks on. This one, I agree with you. I mean, we all have. That's something that Tom said. It's like, Oh, I don't know if you've seen Peter's message. It's like, oh, bye, Jamie. Peter said, as I sit here trying to design a cover for my book, I'm pretty much in awe of human creativity. The bar is high.
Absolutely.
So, and I think the other thing that is a bit of a surprise is because there's the Oracle cards. It's a thick deck.
It is. And it's thick card stock to begin with. So even if you take the Oracle cards out, you're still facing a chunky boy, as they say. There you go. A riffle. How do you feel about the riffling? Gerald, I guess I've never asked. Are you typically a riffler, or do you not stick to one style? Do you just kind of whatever?
I have a routine. I usually riffle shuffle 3 times, and then I overhand 3 times, and then I do this.
Oh yeah,
3 times, and then I lay them out and into 3 piles, and then put them back together.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to before I get too heavy into shuffling or anything, my incense has gone out, so I'm gonna light some more.
There you go. So while you do that, people in chat, what do you think about when Brian and I do something we give it the hashtag or the stash tag nerd stash.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I failed to do it for this video, but yeah, I think nerd stash could be a thing.
Should it be a thing, people? Let
Yeah.
us know.
Let us know. Voice your opinion. We are listening.
Yes.
And by the way, I really appreciate everyone being so understanding of us having to move this, including you, Gerald, last minute.
Oh, you're welcome.
We had planned on doing this on Thursday, and also I usually watch Chris of Elemental Cartomancy on Thursdays, and here I was scheduling this at the same time. Hadn't really thought of that. It's one of those things that skipped my mind because usually I'm still work lurking at that point. So I just hadn't really committed that to memory. But it turned out I just got completely bogged down with a major issue at work and had to switch things around. Everybody was so flexible and understanding, and I really appreciate it.
It was all good. Oh, Robin had said, I removed that spider and replaced it with one of the extra cards. There's plenty of extra cards, so there's no issue there. That's the only spider. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a moth. I know some people have issues with moth on the death card. We have that, so that's something to be mindful of. But yeah, I like the thought of using those extra cards to fill in.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And we do have some positive votes for our nerd stash.
Nerd stash.
Beth says either that or blushing stash. I like that too. That was one of the ones that came to mind.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
So, all right. I have shuffled, requests. So yeah, I can do that. So, who do we have?
All right. And I have not been, I was too busy lighting my incense to get to shuffling, so I'm going to do that. So I'll probably ask you to go first, but we do have Intuitive Arts.
All right.
And I love the foxes that you've included in your request.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, so Heather, the card. Let's see. All right. Well, those are the two cards I'm using because they fell out.
Jumpers.
We have the 5 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. 5 of Cups. And then we have the 7 of Wands. It looks like it could be the same sky, the same evening. And I think what's interesting about that is as I look at the 5 of Cups, whereas it looks like the crystals have in the background have actually sprouted, and then we have a turtle, appears to be like a turtle here, and I think this is one of those things that it suggests that nature moves in the way that nature moves. So as we've gone down the river, this is where those sprout. And then when we have the 7 of Wands, we have the beaver. I think this is one of those things to where there's the sense of, oh, here you go. Here's the story. We have the water is actually going through here, and it's meeting the 7 of Wands, where the beaver is actually putting up things to create a dam. And so this is part of those, this is part of that slow down enough to figure out how you're going to do it so then you can get to the 8 of Wands really quickly. So, and as somebody said, I think it was Beth who said, you have to prepare. In this moment of pause with the Seven of Wands, there could be a lot of things that can go on. And I like how we have cups, which is water, and we have wands. When those are in a good balance, then you get steam, and a lot of amazing things can happen.
Love it.
So there you go.
I get the Ace of Swords. And so we have that awareness that, you know, maybe it's that pause, and some contemplation that leads to some new awareness and you know, a new concept, something that's brewing while you're while that water energy is driving, and we got also one of our
nice
oracle cards is the apathy. So I would see this as, you know, sort of perhaps beware of the temptation of apathy, and use that Ace of Swords energy to overcome that. And it's easy this time of year, I think, to slip into apathy. It's that season where there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of darkness, but look at the light in that Ace of Swords, and that can drive you in new directions that can be very fruitful. And we have those butterflies, and we have the flora coming out of the crown, and so a lot can come from your intuitive and thoughtful.
Yeah. And I also like, if you know, that you could definitely use the Ace of Swords to get over your apathy, because that's just, you know, being, you know, lack of feeling aloof. And sometimes you just need that movement or those new words that come from the Ace of Swords.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
And you're welcome, Heather.
You're welcome. I know Lisa was one who said something about wanting a reading, but I don't remember who else.
Yep. So I have Lisa starred as well. So we can go there next if anybody else would like a reading and help us take this for a test drive. Let us know in the chat.
Hi, Ange. I think what's nice about this with the reading of it is it's sort of like, it's when you get into a car and you test drive it, and you turn the blinker. Do you actually turn the blinker, or you turn it on the windshield wipers? And so there's that. Okay, let's get used to that. And is there a sound that comes on when you do the blinker? So there's that. It's like,
yeah.
So
I also like the thought of cruise control for a deck, because there are some decks that I feel like I can hop in and put it on cruise and just let the messages flow, and there's an ease about it, and it doesn't always have to be a deck that I'm constantly working with. It can be a brand new deck sometimes that you can get in, and there's just an ease, and I think that's an important factor. Some of that just comes with the just the layout, the design, the thoughtfulness from the creator.
Yes,
there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. Okay, so Lisa, the first card that I got for you is apathy. And so I'm wondering if you're feeling, you know, or not having any feeling. However, the next card that I have is the Six of Wands, and I think this is a beautiful celebration card. As you look at it, it's because it's one of those things that in the when things are dark, um, it does suggest that there is going to be a shift of the light. Maybe a wind rolls in and clears the air, and then we have this the Six of Wands, and I absolutely I love this, because with the Six of Wands, there's a feeling of natural joy. And she said, waiting for my victory, but the waiting is tough times. Yes. And so when you're up in the tree, don't forget to actually peek outside. I mean, at least in this, we know there's warmth, because we see that the smoke. So actually, okay, I'll just say it. Maybe turn around and look in the other direction to see if the sun is coming up. So, but it looks good overall. The victory, it's coming. Oh, she said, "I'll take natural joy." Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go.
It's funny because that's a good representation of my current place, she said. So, and this follows up, I think, quite nicely. So, in terms of some action, I think being important here, I got both the Eight of Wands and the Chariot. So, some decisive movement, I think, here is key in getting past that apathy. And it could be that sense of control. You have the reins, you make the decision to move a certain way, to turn around, to look for that sunrise, that apathy state. It's a matter of making that choice between, light and dark, and which direction you want to head. You're in control, you're making the movement, and you take it where you want to go.
And as Andrew reminded us, it's a 7-year, so it's a Chariot year.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, the Mary Poppins energy, and I also think about that Mary Poppins energy is sometimes a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And sing a song, write a musical, write another musical, rearrange the musical. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Hershey. Appreciate that reminder. Yeah. So I did not see another. Here we go. Beth would like a reading. I thought maybe there was another one in there that I missed when my chat jumped. So I think.
And then slightly above that, no, below that, Maruda asked about financial situation in the new year.
All right. So then that puts Maruda first, correct?
No, well, yeah, Maruda did it earlier, but okay. You've got Beth up. We'll get to both of them.
Yep. We will. We will indeed. All right. So Beth. Gerald, you were talking about your shuffling routine. I like that it's nice to have some ritual built into it. I think that's and I think that I do maybe something slightly different when I'm reading for others versus when I'm reading for myself, which I don't know if I've thought about that until right now.
And then Hershey also asked, does the deck want to come home with them? So, okay, Beth. What I have for is the Nine of Wands. And what's interesting about this is as we look at this card, there is that looking out and that feeling of, oh, bye, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
It's that feeling of really, it's like, oh, it's that pause before you're going to go for the long haul. And then we have the Page of Wands. which is a new and a renewed enthusiasm and a renewed energy or a renewed inspiration. And so I think if this is how you're feeling right now, it could be the weather, it could be the time of the year. January and February tends to be hard for people, where we spend all of the time inside, overthinking things and feeling we have to do everything. And this is a pause before you can actually get that new inspiration. So
yeah, and I love the way this is coming together, because so a lot of wands energy going on here.
oh yeah.
I have the 10 of wands, so that could be that that sense of being overwhelmed. But in terms of how to work with that, I have the high priestess.
Mm-hmm.
So really understanding what's behind the veil, getting in touch with the undercurrents, the spirituality that can give you the energy and feed into your ability to just sort of own that burden and work with it, understand it, acknowledge it, and then help you move past it.
Yeah. So perfect. That's so my energy. And yes, I recognize it's January related. And she said she loved that. The wands is in full effect. And it looks like Lisa asked for a reading too.
Great.
I'm just
Thank
helping.
you,
Tell me to stop.
Oh, I need all the help I can get.
You're welcome, Beth.
Thank you, Peter. I do appreciate that.
Yay.
Okay, Maruda.
And then Robin's Reflections just added one.
Okay.
Maruda, was that financial situation? All right. Well, we'll do energy around the financial situation.
Yep.
So because as everybody knows, let's see, where is it?
I got you.
For entertainment purposes only. There you go.
And I'm going to put a little twist on this one.
Do it.
Yes. We have the yes and no cards in this deck. And yes came out.
Bye, Lisa. Okay, so
Lisa.
Stop thinking the worst is going to happen, because that's what you're doing is you're creating energy about all of the bad things and the things that you don't want to happen. Instead, shift into focusing on the good things that are coming, because then we have the King of Wands, which is when you shift the energy, that helps to create the environment and the success that you want and you deserve. So if you're spending a lot of time worrying about it, shift the focus and understand what it is that you do have and how you can control the financial situation. So you take control of it.
Absolutely. Lots of duality coming up here. So it's funny that I decided to do a yes-no poll there. Love it, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm coming up with
oh my gosh,
Justice and the Lovers. So we're talking about, in what I see here, if you're thinking about a financial situation, is it's obviously something that you're struggling with, a this or that sort of situation. And in the this or that, especially if you're thinking about it in terms of the Lovers and the Justice card. What the Justice card tells me is that there's a right way to approach this that you already know, and I think you need to just sort of sit and relax and get rid of the burden of the thought that's pushing down on you. You're trying to wrestle with it, and just really acknowledge that one thing that keeps pushing through to say this way, this way, this way, because you have that in these situations where it seems like there's no real resolution one way or the other. But if you have a quiet moment and a quiet mind and you set the right space, something will push through. And it might not be the thing that you think you want to do or that you've been pushing for yourself, but ultimately the right answer is there. You just have to allow the space for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maruta said, that's perfect. I'm waiting for an estate case to get settled. And Beth brought up legal justice. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Good read.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Robin. Some of these cards are really breathtaking.
They really are.
And then after Lisa, are we doing Hershey to see if these need to come home with Hershey?
Yes. And then after Hershey, we have Robin.
Yay. You're welcome, Maruta. Okay.
And Hershey, when we get to yours, you'd think I'd be tempted to go with the yes and no, but not everything is that black and white. So we'll see.
Okay, so Lisa, whatever you're thinking about, no. Because I'm just going to say no, and I'm going to add, because something unexpected is coming your way. We have the Ace of Pentacles. And so I think that's actually a really, it's a lovely, lovely thought. No, not that way, because something else is going to show up. And I like it. And it feels very much of an unexpected opportunity. Maybe it's a bonus at work, a second job, extra income, a gift from someone, but it's going to show up in an unexpected way. So.
And speaking of unexpected, we have the Fool, which I really like with this combination. What Gerald brought up, I think that they really play nicely together here.
They do.
Just accept it. Just go with that. Just go with the take the leap and be okay. And then we have the Universe.
Wow.
So everything in perfect balance. And we've come full circle.
Yeah. If you put the Wheel of Fortune next to the Universe, they probably look a heck of a lot alike.
Absolutely. Yeah, they do have a very similar layout and feel.
I think that this could be very nice with the Line Strider.
Yeah.
This is Ange. This is the second edition. So
it is available through the Etsy shop for Bouchette Designs. So, and I actually don't know if I linked that in the description, which is silly. So I will do that. If any of the mods have a link to, could pop it in the chat, but I'll go back and take care of that as well. So Hershey, does this deck need to come home with you?
Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Lisa said thank you, and the crystals interwoven in my message. That's great.
Yeah.
It says that it's not no more on Etsy, apparently.
Oh, wow. I believe the creator also has their own website, so might be another way to get to it there. I'll see if I can find a good link.
So, Hershey, you're putting a lot of hope into that. This is the universe or the world, and I think one of the things that is also interesting is if you're looking at it is going to open things up for you if you get it. It's also the Six of Swords comes through, so there is a bit of if I was thinking, if yes, it's the universe, it's going to open really very quickly for you. The shadow, it feels like you want to do shadow work with it, as you mentioned in another live. But then we also have the Six of Swords is crossing through that darkness. I'm wondering if you say, do you really need it right now? Or is it worth it to go through what you're going through, what you were working through? I mean, it may feel like a quick fix instead of the long haul, instead of the permanent fix. So,
love it. And really, this is where this is a chill moment. This is where I'm never disappointed when I do readings with Gerald or with others, and we just, it's amazing how sometimes this stuff comes up the way it does, but maybe it's not, So we have aspiration. So that is, to me, a couple of different things are happening here. Aspiration can be, you feel like you're sitting outside and looking in on something that you want to have. But at the same time, only you can know truly, what avenue you need to take to get to a point where you have satisfaction for yourself. And that doesn't typically come through aspiring to match others. And we have temperance. So there's a balance and really the idea that that balance comes in the form of understanding both sides and limitations and feeling pretty much at peace. Look at this rainbow and the gentle feeling in the water and the star. This is such a gentle feel, and it's comfort in a place. And whether that means this deck would bring that and help in your work is one thing, but also it could mean that you're in a perfect place right now, and that aspiration may have more to do with your spiritual journey than it has to do with any one tool that you'll use on that journey.
Yeah. And I think the second edition is out of print. The third is being, created. So there's your answer, Hershey. Make do with what you have. Use that to activate that temperance to help you move through.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of those things, and when what we want isn't available, we make do and make amazing things with what we have.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah.
Next up, we have Robin.
Best outcome as I build my schedule for the rest of the month. Okay, Robin, let's see what we've got. Okay, Robin, I think people are involved because we've got the Page of Wands, which is, this is simply put, getting excited and getting inspired. So as you plan for your month, stay excited about everything that you put on your schedule. Build your schedule around those things that enlighten you, invigorate you, inspire you. We also got the Page of Pentacles, and don't forget to put things in the schedule that bring you the monetary support that you need. How you build it is going to be important. So, and make sure you don't miss any of those deadlines. And then I also got the Queen of Cups. And so with the Queen of Cups, this is about mastering your emotions in a nurturing way, and figuring out how you can do it instead of what you're going to do. So I like when we have, because pages tend to be a bit more youthful, and all of the high energy of a kid, and all of the enthusiasm of rabbits. Match that with the remember what it is that's going to fulfill you.
Love it.
If that, I hope that makes some sense for you.
Yeah. So I also got the Six of Pentacles.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some opportunity for generosity coming up in the coming weeks. But we also have Seven of Cups, which I think is a great card to think about as you're embarking on, just thinking about your immediate future. And that for you, that means that there are some ample opportunities in a variety of things that sometimes that can seem a little daunting, but I feel like this is in a positive way. You have some interesting emotional journeys and opportunities being made available to you, and that this card points to some great. And I like that it came up with pages in your.
Yeah, and I like that one because the Seven of Cups sometimes can feel overwhelming because you have too many options.
Right.
And when you're dealing with the exciting energy of the pages, I think it's a perfect match for the Queen to go, okay, these are all good ideas, but let's take these next steps in order to get it done. Don't overthink it.
It's great.
Word of the year. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, hard to make decisions and focus. That's your word of the year. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what do you think about this test drive?
Yeah, I think this is a deck that I think it is one that I think maybe takes a little time to work with, to get that fluency and get that, where you get into the driver's seat and everything just kind of feels like a big hug around you, and where all the buttons are and everything. I think there's time to build that here. And part of that, I think, is because of its luxury car nature, where there's a lot of options, there's a lot of things, there's a lot going on, but not in a complicated way. It's just different. It has a great feel to it, but a little bit different than a norm. What do you think?
And I think it is something that I'm going to need to read this to really because it has so many features and bells and whistles and beautiful things and luxuries to it. This is going to help me understand this is going to make me understand what's available so that I know how to use it. It's like when you buy a toaster and you plug it in, you know how the toaster works.
Yeah.
But when you read the book, it's like, oh, but you can also toast bagels here, and you can also make sure that your Pop-Tarts get done in a certain way.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely. The book, I think, will be a key part of this, and that's why I do like that it's also a workbook style, because that structured exercise can really help to drive home some of the concepts.
mhm,
So I think it's
yeah,
really good. We do have some notices here of some other interviews that that
mhm,
the creator has done. So I appreciate uh, some of these
yep.
here, Beth. We have so Jonathan Daly did an interview. So that'd be
Just a
great to
couple of weeks
see.
ago, I think. Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
And Tarot Oracle also did an interview. So
Nice.
that'd be interesting as well. And Hershey had a question about some of the spreads that are in the book. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because there are some spreads in there, and I think that's a key point, and certainly part
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
yeah. Here we
There's
go.
a week ahead. There's a free form.
Hmm.
There's the Meraki spread, which is 4 card, and then she gives options about 3 card spreads.
Yep.
And then crossover, and then crystal and tarot grid, where you use both the crystal deck
Yeah.
and or the radiant crystal, and then a week ahead spread.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Some really good thoughts on spreads in there. Um, yeah, Beth.
I
Totally understood.
slide into this deck like a jaguar. I mean, I've not been in a jaguar, so I get that. So
I have, and I'll tell you, if it's depending on the era of Jaguar, there could be a lot of maintenance issues. They don't like rain so much, despite being from the UK.
aw, that's funny.
So, what did everybody else think? I mean, it's um, you're sort of vicariously taking this test drive along with us.
Hmm.
I'd be interested in hearing other people's thoughts. Is this something that?
I'm still here. I'm
Yep.
still here. I'm moving for my dog.
Yep.
I can
Absolutely.
hear everybody.
And sometimes we need to do that. Oh, and we have Kala here. Kala Lizzie, thanks for joining us.
Hello,
Appreciate it.
Lizzie.
Yeah. So, yeah, um, the toaster
He's rust.
features these days. I'll tell you what. We did have to get a new toaster recently. So one of those things where, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, bought a $10 toaster somewhere, and it lasted forever.
Mhm.
And then I'm suddenly faced with the prospect of buying a new toaster, and I could just get another $10 toaster and get 15 years out of it. But no, of course, I have, the Williams Sonoma catalog in front of me, and I'm looking at toasters, and I'm a big foodie, and I love to cook, and I do pretty much all of the cooking in our house. And not that toasting is really cooking, but I like some kitchen gadgets and things. So, but I'll tell you what, some of the features on some toasters, when a toaster has an LCD panel that displays a comparable amount of information to what I see on my iPhone, I think maybe we've gone a little far. Just my opinion. I don't know. But
Ah,
it can be pretty extreme. So I went fairly basic. It's a nice toaster, but it just has a couple of buttons,
I
and
love that. That's
not
hilarious.
so.
Well, yes, and and that's something too. I really oh, thanks, Lisa. It's one of those things that um how am I going to use the deck? And do I need it to give me an LCD screen and all of that stuff? I don't know.
Right.
Probably not. So,
Yeah.
But,
Beth, you brought up a good point too about in addition to jaguars being killed by rain. Yes, true. That is a reality. But we didn't really talk about the crystal focus in this deck. For my part, that has some to do with my lack of knowledge of crystals and their meanings and things like that. I do
same
love
here.
me
Yeah.
some crystals. I have some gigantic spheres of fun things, and I have crystals around me, and I like reading about the different the different meanings and different things that different properties and things like that.
Hmm.
I am by no means any sort of expert on any of those. I just like them, but I think that's another benefit of a deck like this that has a really well thought out incorporation of crystals by somebody who does know what they're doing, because I can go through those exercises in the workbook and learn a lot about these things that I keep
Yes.
around me.
And or you could just ignore it.
Exactly, because it's a great tarot deck just as a tarot system, following that
Yeah.
good old RWS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the funny things that I remember when looking at cars is I wanted to pay attention to how much air the wind, the I don't know what they call it. It's not the air conditioner, but the vent could
Yeah.
generate, because
Hmm.
I wanted that to dry my hair as I went to work, because I was
Yeah.
running so late. So
Right.
it's like, oh my gosh. So it's the things, but
Yeah.
I think you're right. The crystals are, that's why I'm really interested in getting the the radiant deck by her,
Hmm.
because I think they could really add a different layer of things. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
so
I love
but
robo
yeah,
toasters. Yep.
robot
They,
toasters.
AI
Hmm.
is soon going to is coming to a toaster near you. By
Great.
the way, speaking of AI, I'm sure everybody's heard of Chat GPT. It's always, it's in the news lately. And if you haven't, Chat GPT is an AI chat bot that is currently in release as a research tool. And what they mean by research is not for necessarily for others to research with it, but they want people to use it so that it builds their research. But Chat GPT is something that you can go into and say things like, explain quantum physics as if you're a pirate, and it will spit back out a definition or a story about quantum physics that's done in the voice of a pirate. So it'll incorporate the args and all that kind of language into it. It's hilarious, but it's also really amazing and scary all at the same time. But I decided
Yeah.
to try it out from a tarot angle, and I said, tell me the fool's journey, explain the fool's journey through the majors. And that was it. Just put that statement in there, and it spit out this beautiful essay explaining each
Wow.
part along the way, the fool's journey through the majors in tarot. I was shocked. It's incredible. It's a really fascinating tool. And if nothing else, I mean, I encourage people to go in and type that same kind of question and just see what comes out, because I think it was really well done. It's fascinating.
Wow. I think with something like that, you're not going to need Tarot the Stash Way. It's just like, holy mackerel.
False. No, not true. Because your ability to not only educate us in that series of yours, but also conduct an amazing conversation in chat all at the
Oh,
same
well, thank
time
you.
is staggering. So, just saying.
I agree, Beth. I want the cup holder. Is that Chat EPT?
It's
Was that
actually
correct?
G is in George PT, Chat GPT. You can go to openai.com is the
Okay.
website, openai.com. And then there's access to Chat GPT from there. There also, if you have, everybody has smartphones these days, regardless of what kind, you can go to the App Store and look for Chat GPT. And there are all sorts of apps that people have built that use that system in the background. However, I caution you to maybe just go straight to the source. Just saying. There are
Mhm.
a lot of those apps are built to collect data about you and about the things that you put in there. That it's
Yeah.
none of their business. Just, you know, we don't need to feed that machine, right? So
Yeah.
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 So thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you're
been,
welcome.
I think this has been a really nice test drive of a deck that is relatively new to me. Thanks to Gerald via, or Jamie via Gerald. Um,
Yep.
um, does anybody have any other cards that they didn't see that they are interested in seeing before we wrap up? Because we could certainly still do that. Um, I think I do. I do appreciate the way this deck is constructed and the thoughtfulness overall that was put into
Mhm.
every aspect of it. The additional material that I really, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Hybrid luxury vehicle. I think that summarizes it quite well.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things, it's like, with hybrid cars, you have to go a certain speed in order to get the most out of the hybrid aspect.
Yeah, right.
And this might be slow and steady wins the race, but
Mhm.
hey, so
Yeah, absolutely.
this has been great. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh,
This has been
yeah.
great.
I wouldn't dream of doing it with anybody else. I think that I feel like this should be a regular series, and we have decks of interest.
Hmm.
Let's test drive them.
Let's
If
do it.
people have any decks that they are interested in, maybe it's something that they're thinking about getting. And of course, this one sold out just in the short time where we came up with the idea of doing this and the time we actually
Hmm.
executed. So I apologize for it not being available right now. That I wish it was. Um, but it sounds like the creator is moving to another edition and going to create some more. So that's good. But
Yeah.
if there are decks in, maybe there's some mass market decks out there that people are
Hmm.
interested in, having us run through this sort of exercise, let us know.
Yep. I
Be
think it'll be
happy to.
great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Gerald, what do you have coming up on your channel?
On my channel, Monday, I'm doing readings with Zena's Place Intuitive Card Readings. That's Lisa and Jane the Seeker Tarot. We're doing readings on Monday. Monday evening, at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm a guest on Coyote the Gray's channel. We're doing readings, and then I am doing on Tuesday. I am actually doing a laugh and learn and a magic tool talk about cord cutting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
And that's going to be with Chris Yao, Barely Balanced Tarot, and Medium Betsy Palmer.
Hmm.
And we'll talk about what that is and all that stuff. So
Yeah, that's great. I love that series. That I
I do
actually,
too.
so after watching your Bay episode,
Hmm.
I went to, so I did get sort of a bulk bag of bay leaves, organic bay
Here's
leaves.
the magician.
Yep,
First
I
she
was
asked
just
what the
pulling those
magician was
out.
like.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm kind of working on pulling those out, so maybe you'll beat me to the death card as well. Um, but I bought a bag of organic bay leaves and started incorporating that into my daily ritual. But
Hmm.
then, thank you. Also, there's a local store, metaphysical store near me that
Hmm.
sells a lot of sage bundles. And when I say a lot of sage bundles, they have an entire wall of little cubbies that are like 6 by 6 inch and have maybe even a little bigger, and I would say it has to be at least 12 by 12 of those cubbies. So like 144
Wow.
different types of sage bundles. And one of them is actually a bay bundle.
Ooh.
And their bundles are not terribly cheap, but at the same time, I'm thinking about this in terms of by weight. This is almost entirely bay leaves. And bay leaves, especially organic ones, can be kind of expensive. So this, it was like $7.50. It was probably more bay leaves than I could ever dream of getting in a bag of bulk at that same price. So anyway, it was really interesting, and I love that they incorporate dried flowers in some of them and all kinds of herbs. It's really
Wow.
fascinating. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. So, and we do have an idea popping up already in the channel for a future one, the Unseen World Tarot. I'm going to take a note here. So, pardon me, I'm going to write that down so that we don't forget. Thank you for the idea.
And I saw Robin's reflection said the Poe Tarot.
Yep, Poe Tarot.
I don't have the Unseen World.
I don't either. I don't have either of those. Animal Totem Tarot. Great deck for animal lovers. Yep.
So if you're watching this in playback, please leave a comment.
Indeed.
A, do you want us to do more of them? And two, do you have a deck that you might suggest? So, the Hoodoo Tarot.
The Hoodoo Tarot, yeah. Unseen World is on Etsy, and it's currently on sale. Good.
Okay.
Good tip. Okay. Godfather Tarot. Wow, this is great. We have some good ideas coming in. Thanks, everybody. This is good because we could come up with our own ideas, but really, it's all about what all of you folks would like to see. So, Robin is currently deep diving the Hoodoo Tarot. Get out of my head. Yep.
You know, I'm actually I've never seen the movie The Godfather.
I saw it once, but it was years ago, and I am one of those people, or maybe I'm the person, I don't know, that I can watch a movie and then within a month's time, maybe even less, it completely exits my mind. I don't really I can't hold, like, movies just don't stick for some reason. So pretty much every time I watch a movie, even if I've seen it 5 times before, it's like watching it again for the first time. It's bizarre. And I can never remember the names of actors and actresses.
I can't either. I can't either.
With that. So bad with that.
Calla Lizzie said we're both fired because I haven't seen The Godfather.
Apologies. I did see recently, I saw The Godfather 2, some only part of it though. It was I think a marathon over one of the holidays recently, and I happened to catch part of it. That sorry. I mean, I like them, you know, what I've seen and what I remember, which is not much.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple more ideas from Hershey. Thank you. Okay. And so for the Black Tarot, is it the oh goodness, is that the one?
Is that the True Black Tarot?
The True Black, yeah, that's the one. I'm wondering if it's that, because I actually don't have that, and I was trying to get a recent version of it. I think that was released, like the holographic True Black or something like that. That came out maybe last year or something. And I don't know if it's currently available. So, but yeah, certainly. Lisa says I'm that way with books. Yeah, I struggle a little bit with books too, but I tend to remember those better than I do the movies for sure. So yeah, we have lots of ideas pouring in. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna just write all these down because I started writing them down here. But we could probably go on like that for a while. So what I'll do is come back to the chat later and go through, and then I'll also watch for anybody watching the playback that adds more. I'll certainly keep an eye out there as well. And while I'm thinking about that and the playback and everything else, I'm going to, so, you know, recently I did the Tarot de Ambiguïté,
Mm-hmm.
Artisan Tarot. Recently, I did a video on that, and I mentioned something about doing a giveaway because Artisan Tarot was going to send me a review deck, which I was super excited about because I've never received a review deck from a publisher. Well, here's the funny thing. This is where, okay, so I'll admit this now. I received this deck, almost immediately after saying yes, please, because they offered to send me a review deck, and I said absolutely, please do. I'd be happy to do a review. Then I received this one like 3 days later, and I thought, wow, that was really quick shipping. Well, it turns out that wasn't the review deck that they were shipping me. So they've been super kind in referencing that video that I made in their newsletter, and I've been having some great conversations with William at Artisan Tarot, and he said, by the way, that wasn't the review deck that we shipped. That was actually just your deck that you ordered. He said, and rightfully so. He said, we actually prioritize our customer orders before we send the review decks. And I thought, well, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that, because that's the way it should be. Like, send them out to the people that ordered them and paid for them, get them out, then send them to people for review. I like that approach. I think it's great.
Yes, I agree.
So I said, okay. I already put the video out and said it was the review deck, so I apologize. But they were very gracious and said, absolutely, let us know if you still want a review deck. And I said, no, please don't send me a review deck, because I already have it, obviously. However, I did mention in the video that I might be doing a giveaway. So I have since ordered another copy so that I can do a giveaway of this deck. So stay tuned for a future video, and maybe the next deck test drive that Gerald and I do, or something soon. I'll announce how you can enter that, and I want to have the deck in my hands before officially doing that. So but I have placed the order, so it'll be coming soon with my new socks from Artisan Tarot. And if you don't have any tarot socks from Artisan Tarot, head over to their website, because they're really cool. They're pretty amazing.
Nice.
So, nice. So I added another one of these decks on that order, so we'll be doing a giveaway soon.
I love that.
It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that wasn't actually your review deck. Oh, okay.
But they still got a good review, so they know that you can actually review. So that's good.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Excellent.
All right. Well, any last words that you'd like to share, Gerald, or any final
Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you very much for hosting me. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, my pleasure. It was a blast. I really appreciate you being here for this and joining me for it. And to everyone in chat, really appreciate you hanging out and giving us your thoughts and contributing. And we have lots of ideas to go on for future episodes, so I really look forward to doing that. And until then, we will see you next time, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.